I mean, I'm just reminded of my 10th grade self when I was just this. I just read Rich Dad Poor Dad to set the context, and after I read that book, I was all full of the, oh, you don't need to go to college to make money. You don't need to, do anything. All the stuff my parents are saying is useless. And then I just went on this huge tirade where I just argued with everything my parents said about money and everything that my parents said about anything. But then also the dichotomy there was that it took no action. I didn't do anything at all.
Yeah. It's as if you're sulking in your, or not sulking.
It's arrogance.
It's arrogance, but what's the phrase? You're sitting on your laurels. Is that the phrase?
Is that a phrase?
Yeah.
Well, it's okay.
Or not sitting on your laurels. You're an inflated
it's
like those
ego.
people who
An inflated ego.
Not inflated ego. It's like the comparison I can give. It's like when you're scrolling through motivational TikToks and you feel like you're doing work or something. You feel like you're doing something good.
What do they call that?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. The point is, you feel like you're doing something. You feel like you're being productive, but you're not actually doing something.
Yeah.
So
that's what it was like.
Yeah.
And
I have all this knowledge now, so I'm good.
I heard that the effect on the brain is that if you talk about something, it's the same thing as you doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like your brain thinks that you're just doing it.
Yeah.
So if you talk to somebody, oh, I'm making money, blah blah blah, but not going to school, something.
Yeah.
Your brain is automatically going to think that, and the dopamine releases either way.
Yeah.
So talking about your goals is never a great thing.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that. I was talking to someone and he said he used to, or one time he lied about his grade, and then he felt one, bad about it, and then two, the other thing was you get the feeling that you actually got that grade, and that's dangerous because now you're not going to do anything to improve it. It was a bad grade he got, but then he just lied about it and he boosted it up because all his peers were saying they did good on it. So then he just said, but then it gave him, he was saying that it gives you, he said he did it once in his lifetime. And okay, that's admirable to me because I've lied about so many things, right?
Mm-hmm. Also, okay, actually, if we're thinking about lying, I feel like the principle of being a great dude, one of the first principles that you should adopt is just stop lying.
Yeah, yeah.
Your word has to be iron. Your word has to be a killer word,
Yeah, and they say whenever you stop lying, whatever you say will start becoming true.
Yeah. And there's a lot of stories about that, but some of it is mysticism that I wouldn't want to, put on my 10th grade self.
Far-fetched.
But even if you're thinking about the idea itself of not lying, if you are a person who is reputable with your word, one, people will trust everything you say, but also you yourself will trust everything you say as well. Like if I tell myself, I saw this example the other day, but if I tell somebody, oh, I'm going to do 1,000 push-ups, you should be the type of person to 100% commit to doing that 1,000 push-ups. Or if you tell this person, I'm not really great with this either, but if you say, I'll be here on this time, you should be here on that time. Because what happens is that you build a sort of character where it's like, if you ask somebody for money or something, for example, and you say, I'll pay you back, they're assured that you can pay them back. There would have to be an insanely good reason for you to not pay them back by that specific day or by that specific time. Like it's just so much better. Your life the quality of life just gets upgraded if you don't lie about anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
You have any thoughts on that?
I don't know what more to say. That's just, there's a solid case to not lie.
Yeah. I mean, why do you think people do it?
I don't know. I mean, for me, I mostly don't lie anymore. I limited it. I'm not going to say I don't lie at all because that
would be a lie. That's a paradox.
What?
So that would be a lie. You say you don't lie anymore.
That's not true, right? I think it just becomes so ingrained in ourselves that we do lie, but you should limit it as much as possible. And eventually you will get to the point where you're telling such few lies. But but when I used to lie, maybe because I say I went harder on this principle starting this year, but I think when I used to lie, the reason for lying was, it's a little lie, it's not going to harm anyone, so it's like the only thing it could do is a little bit good for me, and it's not going to harm anyone.
I disagree with that notion as well, because the thing that I was talking about, your idea of yourself, your subconscious is always listening. So if you lie, then the subconscious is going to be like, oh, this person's not, what he says isn't true. So if you say something like, I'm gonna make $1 billion, or something like that.
That's a huge lie, but
What?
that's a huge lie.
Not that it's a huge lie. If you tell somebody I'm gonna make $1 billion, and you think that you feel motivated enough to do it, internally, your subconscious isn't completely convinced because you've lied to people before on different matters.
Oh, right.
That's what
And
I'm
then it
saying. I feel like
spoils, yeah.
that's why it's bad to even small lies are bad.
Yeah.
Because your word isn't trustworthy anymore to yourself.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like that's important as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like your word matters a lot,
Mm-hmm.
I have this belief that we didn't communicate at all before through words, and we just communicated telepathically.
Okay, you're far-fetched now.
It's not far-fetched. It's just a belief that I have. It's an occultic.
All right, bro.
weird
No
belief.
way you said that we shouldn't talk about mysticism about believing, but now you're talking about telepathic communication.
No, but it doesn't have anything to do with what I'm saying. I'm just
Okay.
saying it's a thing,
But then that just gives.
No,
us,
but I'm
that
saying
doesn't give us
once-
credibility.
once-
Would your 10th grade self
once-
listen to someone like that?
Okay, fine. You're right. I'll cut it out.
Yeah.
But once you, where was I before I said that? Okay. Anyway, there's certain things that ensure that your word is so powerful. I feel like you shouldn't lie, and you shouldn't gossip.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like those two things are like the killer of kills the integrity of what you're saying.
Yeah. Or explain further on gossip because we didn't talk about that.
I think gossip, the simple definition is just talking bad about other people behind their back. If you give somebody a compliment,
it doesn't have to be bad.
I feel like giving a compliment.
Gossip
to
is just
somebody-
talking about someone behind their back.
Yeah, but I feel like giving a compliment to somebody is fine.
Okay, but it still counts as gossip, right? I think gossip. I don't know if it's inherently negative. You can
Okay,
you
that
can
makes
look
sense.
you can look it up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what I'm saying, what you shouldn't do is you shouldn't talk about other people behind their back negatively in a negative sense.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what gossip is.
But the reason is
Casual or Okay. What is the true meaning of gossip? Yeah, it's just other people.
Yeah.
You're talking about other people. Okay. You shouldn't indulge in negative gossip.
Yeah.
And the reason just being, it's just not your business.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't. We're talking a lot about inputs, and I feel like that's just a bad input to have. Because I heard that the number one indicator of whether you're successful or not, it isn't your race, it isn't the wealth of your family, it isn't the university or the school or the college or whatever you go to. It's actually the zip code that you're born in or the zip code that you live in. And the reason is because it's just who you surround yourself with. If you're around a group of 5 people that say, oh, we're going to start a business later, but then they just do absolutely nothing and play video games and go out drinking all day, you don't have a standard to set to where even if you don't do those things, there's no standard for you. There's no incentive for you to get better. Versus if you have a friend group that's just constantly competing, or they're constantly, I don't know, they're advancing themselves. I'm just thinking of a business example. But if you have a friend group that constantly, they're like, we're starting our own business, we're setting up a bank account, we're, doing this, we set up our copyrights, all that stuff, then you are also incentivized to get better.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a fact that it's the zip code that you're born in and the zip code that you live in
Yeah.
that indicates your success more than anything. And a lot of that just dials down to inputs, I feel like. The amount of stuff that you're allowing yourself to take in.
Well, zip code I think is because of the schools in your area, right? And
I don't think the schools matter.
Yeah.
I think it's just the people that you surround yourself with.
when
you're
when they
around-
say zip codes, they're going it's what zip codes are most successful. It's the zip codes that have the highest salaries. That's what they mean by zip code, bro. Because you're saying it's not race, it's not.
Yeah, it's just other wealthy people.
Yeah.
They think in a wealthy mindset. That mindset is something that you don't have when you're with some certain types of people. I feel like inputs in terms of that really matter.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, the people you surround yourself with. I think it's also, but I think it's more because of the connections you're gonna have from when you're in that community, and then also, again, just the resources you're going to get from within that community.
Maybe. I feel like those also play a part in it, but I think that the most important thing is the mindset. I have 100% belief in that. Because I just think of an example where if you're with
I mean, mindset also goes with getting whatever. If you get lessons from the rich people around you and you see how they're making money, the loopholes they're using, all of that, I think that's what you learn from people like that.
I think they go hand in hand, but also just the motivation or whatever. Like if you're with a bunch of friends that have fun by the only example I can think of is playing video games, but there's a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like going to the movies or going to a bar or something.
Mm-hmm.
Your sense of what fun is and what what's a good thing to do or what's the standard to hold yourself to. I feel like that's just not going to be the case. A lot of people, even in general, if you look at, you don't have to think of it as in a business sense, but in a political sense, a lot of people that are born in liberal areas become liberal. A lot of people born in conservative areas become conservative. And the exceptions to that usually lie because they get exposed to some online content. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think the internet would also, because that's also an input.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
But remember in Gov, we learned that the number one influence is still your family.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder how.
Because from 0 to 18, you're just surrounded by these people.
Yeah. So it's the internet that would push you the other way. But why? Yeah. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
And I think that has to
Why?
do with,
But wouldn't the internet affect everyone the same? Why is it pushing people in an opposite direction? Or you're saying the few that do change is specifically because of the internet?
Yeah.
Because the internet gives you such a wide range of options that you wouldn't be allowed to choose from
curated.
before.
Like if you see some dude with very excellent speech talking,
Mm-hmm.
you're from a left-leaning family and you see this very excellent speech right-wing dude, then you're gonna be like, oh,
maybe
maybe I don't disagree with him. Or maybe I disagree with him, but I like his manner of speech or something, and you just get into that. Or you see some random conservative dude talking about NBA or something, just a topic that you're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you click on that and you explore his or her channel a little bit more, you start, listening to the other things that they're saying or how they politicize the NBA a little bit. And then you start agreeing with that, right?
Yeah, is that my water bottle? Yeah, it is.
No, this one's mine.
Oh, it's here. Let me get a sip of water. My mouth is getting dry.
Yeah, same.
There's no water. Are you serious? I don't even fill it up at school. I just wait till I get home.
Okay. But, yeah, I think that's the case. The internet algorithm is just curated to whatever you happen to like by chance. So if you like a guy's topicality, like if you're, I don't know, okay, this is a terrible example, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Let's say you as a kid, okay, you're a 10-year-old kid, and your family's a left-leaning family. They're LGBTQ plus rights, yes, and they're like say all whatever, and then you get into Flight Reacts, all right, because you like the NBA, and you just watch Flight a lot, but then you start to pick up on some of the things that he says. Like maybe he's like, oh, maybe gun owning is good or something like that, Maybe he's talking about, oh, I'm going to shoot my gun later. And then you start to question, why don't we have a gun?
Does Flight own guns? I can already think of the short title.
Now you interrupted me. Now we're not in that flow. But, yeah, and then you see Flight, and then he mentions, oh, yeah, I'm going to go shoot my gun.
Second Amendment.
Yeah, right. I'm going to go shoot my gun later. No. Okay. He mentions, I'm going to go shoot my gun later. And then you as a 10-year-old kid, you have nothing about guns because your parents are liberals, and then you start to wonder, oh, why don't we have a gun? And then you start doing your own research into that. If you look on YouTube, you'll get that gun owner content curated towards you, and slowly I think that algorithm would just pick up.
I
feel like that's where people differ from their family. I feel like that's the main reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. So where people differ from their family, the reason is because of the internet. And it's because you have no opposition your whole life. If you're just what?
I was just thinking about the title. Okay, but if you
Flight on gun rights.
Okay, if you what?
If you have no opposition, if you face no opposition to your beliefs, and you're in a circle where you're only hearing the same beliefs go around and around, then when you do get exposed to a belief from external belief, when you do get exposed to an external belief, then that external belief is going to be way more convincing than anything you've seen. Because no one's had to convince you to be a liberal if you're part of a liberal family.
Mm-hmm.
But now that someone's convincing you to become a conservative, you're more likely to go towards that.
Yeah, that makes
Bro,
sense.
stop laughing about the
No, I'm
flight.
not laughing about the flight title. I'm just considering your statement as a whole. Yeah, I agree with whatever you're saying, and I feel like if we push this back to success, it's the same way. Because maybe when you're around your family, it's like, this is the norm. This is what you're born into.
Right, yeah.
And then when you're exposed to other people, it's it depends on the type of people you're exposed to. If you're exposed to all these people that are super ambitious, they're super, I need to start this new technology, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I feel like that would ultimately convince you to pursue that.
Okay, I had a Asian friend who was a model
Asian
student, right? He was the typical Asian student. Typical meaning he was the best in his class. He was best in everything. So I'm not saying that's typical. I'm just saying that's what we stereotype them as.
It doesn't matter.
That's what we stereotype.
We don't need to work so hard not to get canceled.
That's what we stereotype them as.
Free speech in this country.
That's what we stereotype them as, right? So he's just a great student, top of his class. He was friends with this student, another student, who was his two brothers, right, were not academically inclined at all. I think one of them didn't go to, or both of them, they're not academically inclined and they didn't do that well in school. I don't even know if they were above average, right? But because he was friends with this Asian student, the other student, I keep thinking, yeah, all right, he told him to take these classes. He thought, oh, I might just take these regular classes, it'll be easier. And the Asian friend told him, no, take these harder classes, it'll be better for you in the future. So he did. And he said, oh, you'll be in a class with me. So he did. So he just pushed him to join these clubs and do these activities. And because of that, he did so much better in high school academically than either of his brothers. And he's going to have his entire future changed because of that one friend. And I know another guy like this too, right? But it just goes to the point that who you surround yourself with is so important.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the people that surround themselves with like all these party kids, I feel like will just end up becoming a party kid, like a guy that's 25 and at the bar.
100%. Yeah.
But then also there's, if you surround yourself with all these finance bros, I feel like there's a good chance that you just become one of those Wall Street chills.
Yeah.
Not to say any of that is bad.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it is the lifestyle that you chose.
Yeah, but half of those finance bros are party guys as well.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying they're independent of each other.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, as in who you surround yourself with is what you become.
Yeah.
And that's the example of the zip code thing. I guess that's what I was really trying to say with that zip code thing.
That makes more sense.
Yeah. That's just what it is. Cause it's
also, I messed with this volume a bit, I think.
Bro.
Hello.
Yeah, we're fine. Okay, anyway. Yeah, that's what the number one indicator of success is or should be. Because it's inputs. It's all a matter of inputs. It's what you let your brain hear and then what it decides to put out as a result.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that you surround yourself with should always be, I guess the people that are going to bring your brain to the next level. Or at least they're pushing your brain towards the goals that you actually want to achieve. Because if the goals of you and your friends misalign, they can be great people, but your goals don't align, then that's going to deter you from going on your path as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you want your goals to align with your friends.
That's my 2 cents.
And I would say even if you have friends that your goals don't align with, you keep them as I'm not saying you're not saying to ditch them. Keep them as your friends, but also have those people that you do align your goals with. These people, you can hang out with them for fun, but know that you're not going to, if you get really, really close with someone, because the two guys I was talking about were best friends, right? If you get really, really close with someone to that level, as in when you want to go hang out with someone, you go hang out with that person. That's when I think that's the kind of person where you want your goals to align, because both of you are going to have heavy influence on each other. But if you do have a friend who your goals don't align with, then know that one, his goals don't align with me, right? But then keep that in your head while you're hanging out with them. Just know that
I agree.
This is for fun. This is not my this is not my guy. Meaning this is not who I'm going to.
Not my guy. No, you should. I feel like you should be more selective of what you like. You can't just let them say whatever they want and just take it as without questioning it by yourself in your own head.
When they say something, be like, okay, that doesn't align with my goals, right? I mean, it doesn't
discard
have
it.
to be that direct,
Yeah.
but just I'm saying if you keep that notion in your head itself, like that this is one group of friends and this is another.
Or like don't take influence from these people, even though you're hanging out with them to have fun.
Yeah, I'm saying, but if you differentiate your,
No, I'm saying that's what you should think to yourself.
what?
Don't take influence from these people.
Yeah, sure. You can think that as well. But I'm saying if you differentiate these two groups of friends, as in one, these are the kind of people who align with my goals, and these are the kind of people I don't align with my goals. When you say that to yourself in your head, and then you go hang out with a person you don't align yourself with, you're not going to take influence from them.
Yeah, and
subconsciously.
Also, I feel like there's something that you can learn from every person. This is also another belief that I have. So instead of focusing on everything, you should just take the parts of what you want to learn. Like if you have a friend who is just an absolute waste man, but he's just super charismatic.
Yeah.
Not absolute waste man, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's just super charismatic. You want to try to learn that attribute instead of the whole picture.
I think that comes with knowing what your goals are.
Yeah,
if you know what your goals are, then you're
So
not going to
I'm
take
saying
influence from the best.
It doesn't necessarily have to be you're hanging out with this person for fun or whatever, because you take influence from anybody. Either way, it's just a subconscious thing.
Yeah.
There's something you like about that person.
But you'll take less influence if you know what your goals are.
Yeah, I feel like what you should do is you should specify what you should be taking influence from.
Yeah.
In any person. Like if there's someone whose goal is to be successful and they keep starting new ventures and stuff, you should take that influence from them, their mindset. And then if there's somebody who's super charismatic, whose charisma is off the charts, you should take influence from that person on that. And if there's someone that's super good with comedic timing or something, you can take that influence as well. If there's an attribute that you like to have, I heard this saying, if there's an attribute that you like to have, you should surround yourself with a person who carries that attribute.
Yeah.
And carefully observe how they do it.
Yeah. I think you don't even have to go as far as, I mean, it probably helps, but you don't even have to go as far as identify what that person has that you want. Identify what you want. And by identifying what you want when you hang out with that person, whatever they do, right? Because you can't predict what they're going to do. But whatever they do, you'll know either one, this aligns with my goals, or one, this doesn't align with my goals. If it aligns with my goals, I'm going to take it. If it doesn't align with my goals, I'm not going to. So as long as you identify your goals, that first step itself guarantees that you're not going to take bad influence from your friends.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad he's been telling me this since I was 3 years old, but I guess the meaning has really started to click in the past
When
few
you
things.
start seeing it materialize.
What?
I'm saying when you start seeing that materialize.
Yeah, my dad was always saying take the good and just discard the bad.
Yeah.
And I agree. I mean, back in the day, I was just always just this little negative little kid. Not really. But maybe towards like 10, 12, I was a really negative little kid. I was a hater, as they call it today. But yeah, now that I'm looking back at it, you shouldn't take everything. You shouldn't be, their interest shouldn't be your interest, and vice versa. You just take what you like.
Yeah.
Or as you said, identify what it is that you like, and then you'll just subconsciously embody that attribute.
Yeah. So which way does the sun set?
West.
I mean, which
I don't
direction?
know, I don't know which direction from here.
Okay.
I've never been here long enough to see the sunset.
Yeah.
I think it's around somewhere over there, though.
Yeah.
That's what it always feels like to me.
The days will be a little bit longer now, though.
Yeah, definitely. Before when I woke up in the morning, I couldn't even see the sun until after I came to school.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I wake up and then within a few hours it's there.
Yeah.
Sunrise is what, like 6:10 ish nowadays.
Yeah.
Back in the days, it used to be in like 7:30.
Yeah. One more week
What?
till so much free time.
I feel like I have so much free time now.
Yeah, true.
I'm not gonna do much outside that I won't be doing that week as well. Maybe I'll have that extra few hours of school, but I also have a lot of free periods.
This is a low energy conversation.
Yeah, I know, but this is a more casual conversation.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But we should still keep it where we're not
Fine.
droning off.
fine. How about we
Talk about